Hi, it's Alaska Granny. If you're looking what's going on in the world today, perhaps you're wondering what's going to happen next. There's so many stores that are closing. There's so much discontent in the world. There are wars breaking out and so much shoplifting. And if you look at what's going on at the border, it's unbelievable. And so what we need to think about is there are limited resources in our world. We have all kinds of interruptions in the supply chain, off and on. They continue to happen. Just look at the bridge accident in Baltimore and the impact it's had on shipping. So things can go wrong at any time. And what I've been thinking about is, what are the products that could run out? What should I be stockpiling to make sure that I have the everyday, day-to-day items that I want to have on hand? I want to make sure I have enough. If you think back to when the pandemic started, all of a sudden the stores were just stripped of all kinds of things. We may not have another pandemic, but we certainly have continued to have crazy events in the world. And so to me, it's prudent to figure out what are the items that I want to have on hand, what are some items that could run out first, will be popular, and will be in high demand. How can I make sure that I have enough in my home? Will these items run out? Nobody knows for sure, but we can make sure we don't run out personally by having our own stockpile, our own store in our home. Anyone who remembers the pandemic remembers that shortages of toilet paper. Have you stockpiled? Do you still have enough? Or did you use up what you had and you're getting back to, oh, maybe there's just a few rolls to spare? I don't ever want to find myself without a square to spare, so I make sure I keep plenty of toilet paper in my home. The same goes for other paper products that you use, Kleenex, paper towels, whatever the products are that you use, make sure that you have them, because there's certainly an inconvenience if you don't have those basic necessities. Look over your first aid supplies. Do you have plenty of all different kinds of items? Gauze squares, pain relievers, cough syrups, ointments, remedies, and don't forget summer is coming. Maybe you want to make sure that you have not only sunscreen but some aloe vera lotion in case you do get a sunburn. You can also use it for insect bites, rashes, and things like that. Then make sure you're picking up little kits like dental repair kits. Not only is it a huge inconvenience and maybe a discomfort if you have a dental emergency, but it can be nearly impossible to get in to see a dentist for weeks at a time. If you've tried making any kind of medical appointments lately, maybe you have seen how difficult that can be. Even if you have the money to pay or great insurance, you can't get an appointment because they're just so overworked. Not sure exactly what the issue is with that, but that's something that I have been encountering recently. Have you thought about staying clean? What about your dishes, your laundry, body soap, and all of the items that you use to clean up around your home and to keep your body clean and healthy? Think about those items. Do you have a spare or two of each one? When you go to the store, if you need one, buy two. Put one to use and one to put away. Then the next time you need one, you can get it out of your stockpile and then replace it. That's how you build a stockpile, is a little at a time. You add a variety of items until you have all types of different things that keep your life running smoothly. No matter the emergency, we need fresh drinking water. Make sure you have at least 14 days worth of water for your family. It's not sensible to think that help is on the way and you only need a 3-day supply. Something like water keeps us alive. We need it for not only drinking, but food preparation, cleaning, washing our bodies, and even sharing with our pets. So make sure that you have plenty of fresh drinking water. And then when the water runs out, or maybe it isn't safe anymore, have something as simple as a bottle of bleach. Bleach does expire, so check your bleach, make sure that you're rotating it, even if you're not using it for laundry. Have it on hand, and then replace it occasionally, because it's not going to work as it's supposed to if it's gone long out of date. Maybe you've discovered, as I have, that the container started to get soft and degraded, so you want to make sure that you're rotating that so that you have a fresh supply you can rely on. Are you getting the wide variety of foods that you need, the nutrition? It can be difficult even on a great day, so in times of emergency, you might want to make sure that you have stockpiled some multivitamins so that you are ready to take care of your health. You need to stay healthy at all times, but especially under times of hardship and stress. when your resistance gets down, and that is when you become sick or you don't pay attention to what you're doing because you're so stressed out and you can be injured. So have those items on hand. Let's think about being clean. Make sure you have some wet wipes, baby wipes, all different kinds of things that are disposables that you wouldn't want to necessarily use every day. But if you didn't have any running water, wouldn't you want to still be able to stay clean? And if you do have babies, make sure that you have an ample supply of diapers and the products that the babies need. And if you're a female, make sure you have some feminine hygiene products. Also, look over your family. Are there elderly people who require extra medication or hearing aid batteries? Whatever your needs are, assess what your family needs and then meet those needs. Don't forget your pets. Make sure you have extra pet food and water that is specifically set aside for your pets. In times of hardship, the cheapest foods go first. Make sure you have a nice supply of rice and beans. And more than just the beans, you can look at lentils, split peas, all the different varieties. Have a variety of different kinds of beans and legumes, and then learn some simple recipes on how to prepare those. Don't just put them aside until SHTF. Practice making some things with your basic beans and rice that it will not be something that, like in an emergency, you don't have any idea what to do with them. You want to store foods that you know what to do with, you're willing to eat, and then rotate some of those foods. Even if they can last 30 years, it doesn't mean they have to. They can, but it would be nice if you actually rotated them and tried them out and made them a part of just your basic meal plan. And while we're talking about beans and rice, have a variety of spices, herbs, and seasonings. Dried onions, things that you can add into your basic beans and rice to help them be more flavorful. Have variety and keep your meals interesting so no one gets food fatigue, even in a hardship situation where you're only eating beans and rice. They can really be jazzed up so that they don't taste the same, even if you had to eat them every single day. Think about basic baking ingredients. Do you have things like flour, sugar, salt, basic ingredients so that you could make bread if you needed to? There are all kinds of things that you can make out of flour, and so you want to have those ingredients on hand. You can buy them in number 10 cans that are designed to be stored away for up to 30 years. And some of these ingredients I think would probably last longer. But wouldn't it be nice to know that if hard times come, or there are shortages, or who knows what's ahead, be able to provide for your family, even if it's just making a simple loaf of bread, a few tortillas, some pancakes even. It's nice to know that you have the ingredients on hand in case you can't get the bread that you need. What other items could be in short supply? Might run out. Canned foods. Think about the varieties of canned foods that you've seen in the store recently. You may have had in the past where you could buy a generic variety that wasn't very much money, but I've gone to the store recently. The generic variety is completely sold out. Yes, there's still food in the store, but instead of it being a can of beans for 89 cents, it's a can of beans for $2.89. Can you afford to pay for the higher priced item if they're all out of the one that you want? Because if you can't get the foods that you want, sometimes you just have to get the foods that you can so that you can continue to feed your family. Then if you do go to the store and you can't afford it, guess what? You still have some supplies in your home. And then over time, likely you'll be able to find some again or save up some money until you can buy what the price is now going to be. There are challenges ahead, but we can do it. Think about also the protein. You want to stock up on different varieties of canned meat. Canned meats last far longer than the date on the can, and it's a great way to get protein, and so many of us are used to having the flavors of meat. We want that in our diet. It fills us up. It has lots of calories. Think about all the different varieties of meats that you can get. Everything from chicken to beef, salmon, turkey, crab meat. There's all kinds of different canned meats that you can get. You can also buy foods that include meat, like cans of soup, cans of chili, beefaroni, ravioli, pozole. All of those different canned meals might include meat, give you variety, give you some protein that can be harder to find in just basic foods. Nobody knows what's coming, but we certainly know that challenges are happening all the time, and they can come on suddenly like an earthquake or a bridge collapse or tornado. You might have some warning like a forest fire is coming, a snowstorm is on the horizon, a hurricane is offshore. And then there are just things that we can't control, such as job loss and rising prices and just unrest in the world. So think about the items that you like to have on hand. What can you do to provide for your family and stock up on some of these items that could run out? Then you don't have to worry about running out when the store is just empty, because you will have your stockpile. One thing at a time, $1 at a time. Prepping doesn't have to be expensive. You just need to keep at it. Get that ball rolling. Once you get the ball rolling and you become a prepper, then you just need to keep building on that, adding to it, doing a little bit at a time until you have the things you need. Always make sure that you're using, rotating, and replacing your items so that you always have a fresh supply of nothing has been contaminated, nothing has been spilled on, nothing is leaking or so out of date that it isn't any good anymore. And that's how we ensure our future, no matter what the challenges are ahead. Leave in the comments below, what items do you think would run out? What items should we be stockpiling and thinking about so that we have the things we need going forward? We don't need to worry if things run out, because we'll still have some on hand to keep our families safe. I hope you'll like my video, share it with someone else you think might find it interesting, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.